and thank you for joining us on our September edition of The Scoop. I'm Chandler Burke.
And I'm Lucas Hunchman. I'm pretty excited you guys are here with us today because we're going to actually be talking about opportunities. Opportunities at Floyd Central, because that's pretty amazing. We're also going to get to talk to some people that give us some inside scoops about, what these opportunities entail. Yeah?
Yeah, so one of those opportunities is a child development program, and that program has really taken off at FC over the years. I think one of the students' their favorite thing about it is probably the animatronic babies. And that, along with also just learning about all the early parenthood years and just getting all that information that can help them down the road.
Born in the United States. That's a lot of new lives coming into the world each day. At Floyd Central, to learn about the way a child is conceived up until birth, along with all the other little details to come with it, few students are enrolled in the child development class. The class itself is used to teach teenagers about new life and how to take care of it. The teacher, Mrs. Wavell, takes many different teaching approaches to teach the students about raising a kid, such as watching real-life reenactments, informational movies, hands-on learning, and even taking home an animatronic child. The students love Mrs. Wavell as a teacher and as a person. In her classroom, you don't feel embarrassed about any questions that you may ask. Many students talk to Mrs. Wavell about anything because she is like a personal therapist and loves to be involved in the students' personal lives. She makes the classroom atmosphere comfortable and real instead of like any other ordinary classroom. We asked Mrs. Wavell how she thinks her class informs students, and here's what she had to say.
Child development prepares students by getting them ready for family life or for career readiness. So maybe if they want to go into the medical field or some social services or child care, it's beneficial, so it teaches the children or students what they can expect going into those fields.
Most students at FC don't understand how important child development is, so we asked Ms. Wavell, and here's what she told us.
41.7% of students in high school are sexually active, so it's definitely going to apply for those. There is a significant teen pregnancy rate, so that alone makes this important.
During the class, students will take home an animatronic real care baby. The baby does everything a normal baby would do. It cries, eats, sleeps, and even occasionally needs a diaper change. Real care babies are actually programmed based off an actual child's actions and schedule. The baby is a great way to inform students about the real care of a child. We asked senior, Katie Weimer, how her experience taking home the child was, and here's what she had to say.
Taking home the baby last weekend taught me a lot, ups and downs, like whether to not have babies anytime soon because I had to feed it. I was up every hour in the nighttime with the baby, and just taking care of it, changing its diaper, feeding it, and changing its clothes, and just making sure it was happy and held all the time was very hard.
To say the least, the child development class takes a step in the right direction, teaching students about their future and real-life situations. In the end, high school is really all about finding yourself and who you want to be, and Floyd Central helps students by offering classes like these.
So you can see, Floyd Central takes its students' futures very seriously. And so today we brought in one of the students from Child Development, Taryn Weddle. Thank you for joining us today, Taryn. So what do you think is the most important thing about child development?
To me, the most important thing about child development is just learning about all the early stages of pregnancy, all the way up until till birth, and learning how to pretty much just be a parent to your child and learn all the different ways that you can give birth and all the different parenting styles that you can do.
Okay, so I know a lot of people know that one of the most special things about this class is the animatronic babies. I just gotta ask, do you build some kind of emotional connection with the baby?
In a way, I guess you could say yes, but the animatronic baby is kind of harder than a baby. I think it's, in general, to give you the general spectrum of how you have to deal with the child. It taught us how to feed it, change its clothes, give it affection, and yes, the baby actually did need affection. If you were not holding the baby, it would cry and scream, wanting you to hold it, just kind of building that emotional bond that you would as with your own child.
That's cool.
So when you went out in public and stuff, did you get a lot of reactions from that?
Yeah, I kind of did. As I went out in public, I would always be kind of stared at, if you would. So if I was I went to the spaghetti shop, with my boyfriend, and I got a lot of stares in general, and some woman came up to me and was like, "Oh, you poor thing," kind of not knowing it, and I was, at the same time, I was just like, you know what, it kind of put into perspective at what teenage moms actually have to go through with like the looks, the glances, people saying stuff to them, and it kind of put me into my own little, you know.
Yeah, teenage mom, that whole subject's kind of a controversy thing here. Do you ever have any cases, you know, with the students you've been around? Is their moms like kind of upset about this whole class kind of bringing you into that world?
I think most parents kind of approve of the class, to be honest, because it kind of teaches children. Most parents will say it's their own form of birth control, which is kind of out there, but it does give the children a really like time management skills. What I'm saying is you gotta make sure that you have the baby's needs all cared for, and you really can't do what you want to do because the baby's needs have to come first. So the child development class teaches you basically not to have a kid right now.
That's really informational. Thank you so much. And if you need any more information on that, you can stop by room C115, talk to Miss Walville. She's a teacher, so.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I could talk about babies all day, but there are way more, lots of classes up here at Floyd Central and opportunities you can take, such as sports broadcasting. It's been a pretty big thing lately. Like, since Mr. Shaw's came, we've given a lot of students opportunities to get inside that field. So we'd like you to take a look at the sports broadcasting opportunity.
Sports broadcasting is the opportunity for you to be something bigger than yourself. It's the opportunity to give off ideas, opinions, and facts and mesh them all together into a broadcast. You really don't realize how often that you listen to opinions in sports, and it's every game you watch and everything involved with the game. And that's just something we do here at Floyd Central. So I am Wyatt Williams. I broadcast for 88.1 WNAS FCTV here at Floyd Central. I'm our play-by-play guy, or one of our play-by-play guys. Really just in depth of what play-by-play is. You pretty much just tell what's going on right in front of you at the moment it's happening. So for example, you tell about the formations, where people are lined up at, then once the ball snapped, you say that, you know, where the quarterback either threw it, handed it off, just that's an example. Yeah, so you pretty much just tell what's going on in front of you. So other positions we have here are color and stats. People like Zach Sims, Josh Breeden do a lot of our color and stats, but our main color guy is going to have to be is Joe Lincoln.
So the specific duties of a color analyst are they have to tell why something is happening on the field. It's pretty much because they just need to explain to the people at home who don't really know what they're talking about. They need to tell them what's going on. So to be a color analyst, you kind of have to know a little bit about sports, maybe more than the average person. So it helps you out a lot whenever you go into the booth and you're first trying it out to know that what's going on the field. You know, if you're going out there blind eye and don't really know anything, it's not going to help you out a lot.
Mr. Shaw really puts you in a lot of situations here to help you get better and grow in those things. So that way, if you do want to pursue a career in broadcasting, sports broadcasting, whatever field of broadcasting you want to go into, it really prepares you for what you want to do when you get older. So I love the opportunity that I'm given here at Floyd Central to really expand outward in broadcasting and get better at it. And if you ever want to check out a FCTV or 88.1 Highlander Radio production, just check out 88.1 Highlander Radio or FCTV.
So obviously sports broadcasting is pretty fun, it seems like. And if you actually want to be a part of that, all you have to do is go up to Mr. Shaw. He'll get you part of that, or just come to F101.
Another thing it's undeniably popular right now is video games. And so a new program at Floyd Central is the eSports Club. And that's combining sports and video games and taking some of the fun that people like out on the field and bringing that into the classroom for a club. And so we sent FCTV's Sam Haney out to take a more in-depth look at that.
The school year goes off with a bang for the new club that emerges. The Esports Club, sponsored by Mr. Tim Romig, is an after-school activity where they take gaming to the next level. The students in the club have found fascination with it. This fascination starts from the top and goes back down. Senior Trevor Conti created the club at the end of last year and has a lot of plans for the new year.
I want to take the club in more of a forward direction so we can keep expanding and developing, adding more members, adding more teams, doing more competitions, just trying to improve everything that the club did last year so that more people can get involved and experience it.
Pushing through the stages, Floyd Central's first esports team has made its mark on the school with hard work and dedication. Their other founder, senior Nicole Holland, has been able to organize their cash flow and put creativity into the right path.
Last year we only had one working team with one team captain that was consistent in their practices and play times, but this year I personally have been working together with Mr. Romig to plan LAN parties, which is like a community party where the entire esports club will come here to school and get together, and we can have party and we can play things like Super Smash Brothers or Mario Kart. Just a good old little party, hangout time for all of us, and we can compete for prizes.
Holland has helped the students in this club flourish. The club has been separated into different sections based off of the games that are playing at the league. The leagues consist of competitive Minecraft, Super Smash Brothers for the Switch, League of Legends, and Overwatch. These games come from dedicated people with strong minds.
So the school environment is kind of interesting for video games because, at least the way I kind of grew up seeing it, is that video games were kind of opposite to school, how they could get in the way of working on your schoolwork or focusing on school. But I think this kind of the social aspect of school helps a lot for improving teamwork and how people work together and how they think and approach the game.
For me, it's a little strange, but it's a really good change. Growing up, I always played video games, and my mom would always tell me, you can't play video games until you finish your homework. And as I got older and my classes got more serious, you can't play video games until the weekend. And so being able to bring it up to my mom and say, this is what I want to do for my future, and I'm using my school now to be able to train for that, it has just really impacted my life, and I hope that esports in our school will also impact other people's lives as well.
Now the esports club is growing. It's gotten huge. It's gotten really popular, but it's also without controversy. And so one of the main discussions right now is whether it's a sport or not. So we brought in Mr. Romig right here. He's the club sponsor. So thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
So do you consider it to be a sport?
Oh, definitely. If we look at what we consider a sport, say let's look at football. We have people who practice, put in a lot of time on their own, try to get better at it. We have people who are so good, why do we watch sports and athletes? Because we have people that are just talented at it, and we can't do that stuff. And we have kids who are talented at video games. There's things that I couldn't replicate playing a video game. But these kids put a lot of time into it. They practice together as a team. And another thing that's a big part of sports is there are other people who like to watch it and get enjoyment out of that. And that's all part of this. So yeah, I would definitely consider it a sport.
So it has a lot of competition, like I've heard, but a lot of sports we have at school kind of compete with other schools, you know? So what kind of competition do you have here? Is it with other schools or just the class?
No, it's actually a little more difficult for us because we're one of the only teams around this area. There's not a lot, but we are part of something called the High School Esports League, which we joined last year. And basically when they have a tournament, it happens all over the United States, and they place us in brackets. And so, for instance, we've played teams from Texas, teams from Washington State. And so while we're not playing local high school esports teams, we are playing high school esports teams from around the nation.
So what type of games do you actually play in the tournaments? Is it just
Overwatch, Fortnite, Super Smash, and I think we're actually starting competitive Minecraft this year. So.
Okay, there isn't any controversy over playing shoot 'em up games?
Yeah, one thing that we cannot do, and I understand because we're in high school, we can't play any overtly violent games that have realistic violence with blood and that, that kind of stuff. But like Overwatch, the more cartoony kind of stuff, yeah, we can do that.
So what kind of benefits do you see coming from this club?
Benefits, I think it fits a niche where, there's kids who love video games. I mean, video games, almost everybody plays them nowadays. I mean, that's arguable, but I think everybody's played a video game, whether on their phone or on a console or a PC. And I think it's so popular, and we have a lot of kids that are into that, and they might not be athletic or into, athletics. And it just gives them an opportunity to be a part of a team, something bigger than themselves, and work together. So I think that's a great, and be with like-minded people. I think that's always a good thing. Find a place in school. And also, just like in athletics, football players, tennis players, swimmers, these kids can get scholarships. And we've already had kids that are talking to colleges being offered money to go to college to play on college-level esports teams.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So so there's kind of like a stimuli to people that play games a lot. It's I don't know. Some people might think they're lazy or don't do well in school. Do you see a lot of like students in your esports club? Are they more motivated in school, or
Are they more motivated in school? I mean, we have like anything. I think you can say, I coached football for years, and we had all different kind of kids on the sports teams. We had kids, typical, jock. We had kids who were, in all AP classes, kids who weren't. So I think this is a mix just like that. We have kids, a lot of AP kids show up to the esports club. So I think to generalize any kind of what kind of person is in that, I just don't think we should do that, But we will, once we just started last year, and once we get everything, kind of more organized and know what we're doing a little bit more, we're going to treat it just like a sport. And there are going to be, just like playing a regular athletic sport, we're going to have those standards that you have to keep your grades up. You have to, watch what you're doing in school and how you act in order to compete on the team.
All right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because you can see that it's really for everyone.
Yes.
And that's what makes it great. So thank you so much for all the information.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So with all these different experiences and different clubs at the school, it
really gives us an opportunity to like kind of branch out on what we want to do and kind of, experience different things. And I would say like being in high school, one of the most important things you can do in school is kind of do an extracurricular activity, something to get you out of school, and that's very important.
I think, just finding anything that you can do. There's an endless variety of different stuff. So once again, I'm Chandler Burke.
And I'm Lucas Hunchman.
Thank you for joining us today.